$1 million valuation for a little piece of metal with 2 magnets on it? That's sheer insanity. I'm out.
Everybody, it's your boy GN Invasion.
This is Power Trick. Unfortunately, so our third partner in crime isn't here right now due to he's feeling under the weather.
Yeah, so everybody, give your prayers out to our homeboy Soul, aka Shankster. So today I wanted to start the roasting immediately, but I think I did enough of that on the Nintendo Direct. So we're gonna save the roasting for after. But today we're literally just going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 specs and hopefully clearing up some of the confusion, as well as clarifying anticipations also, because one thing that was for certain is that Nintendo Direct did a good job of showing off games and showing off minor specs, but it didn't give the full feature. So we're going to try to help you out with this time. So you want to start with one that you actually wanted to do, or you want to just go through this list that I found?
Well, we could go through the list, but it's basically we're going to say this is the Nintendo Direct / Switch 2, the good, the and the ugly, basically.
Oh, no, good, the bad, and the ugly. Nintendo don't get no amnesty from me, and unfortunately, to all y'all that are going to try to roast, I am not a Nintendo fan. I had an original Nintendo, still have it in the box in my closet, and I have a Wii, which collects dust because I don't get enough time to play Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, Castlevania Judgment, or any of the other games I have, because I have a PS4 Pro, I have a PS5, and I got a custom PC. So, but let's start off with the first things then, alright? So the biggest thing was storage. It went from 32 gigs to 256 gigabytes internal storage. Now, disclaimer, just like with any good mobile phone or anything else, this is internal storage. So you might as well say anywhere from 35 to 40 gigs, roughly, is going to be taken up by internal software. Could be less, but with the Switch 2, based off what we found, there's so much that they've packed into this thing to where something's going to fall by the wayside. Yeah. That's how I feel. So again, 256 gigabytes of internal storage. Let's just say, you know what? I'll be nice. 30 gigabytes of internal storage is going to be for the UI, for the system's UI.
Yeah.
Now, one of the biggest things is that in the Direct, they actually said that it was going to do 4K with 120 FPS. That is only in docked mode, meaning the TV mode, okay? And it's actually not 4K 120, it's 4K 60 FPS.
Yep.
All right. Now, that will the graphics will change depending on the game. But kind of like how one of the feature games that's coming to the Switch 2, surprisingly, because it's a very graphic and violent game, Elden Ring.
Yep.
That game is not going to look the same way as it is going to be spec'd out on a PC. So, I'm trying to temper expectations right now. The new feature, which is the one that is probably the most overly ambitious one, and as far as going to affect performance, the new C button, which we done dubbed the Nintendo Cord button.
Yep.
It allows you to stream your games with your friends, so very similar to Discord or whatever else. But you also can share. You can share your gameplay and have video camera to it. Now, the new camera costs $50, or webcam, whatever you want to call it. Nintendo cam, yeah. So the problem with this, guys, is because thankfully I run it on PC. But if a person has a laptop, and I want you to think about a laptop as an overpowered version of a Switch, however you want to look at it. if you don't have it plugged in. This handheld that is going to, we're going to go all high spec. We're going to have Elden Ring at 4K 60F. No, I'm sorry. I didn't even get to the other part because I'm still stuck on the 4K. In handheld mode, 1080 or 1440p at 60 FPS. Only. 4K is only meant for TV mode. So Elden Ring at 1440 60 FPS while screen sharing and streaming it with your friends.
That's a lot.
The battery life is gone. Now, just to scroll down to the bottom before I get to the other parts, they already said the battery life ranges from 2 hours to 6.5 hours of gameplay time, and that's based off the game you play. So, Elden Ring is a game that technically can support up to 3 players. So just imagine if you're doing multiplayer, streaming with the C button, screen sharing, and well, unless you have a handheld webcam, or because I don't think they have a front-facing webcam on the Switch itself, you won't have to worry about that. But if that's not docked, your battery life is draining. So, you know, and then of course they already showed specs about the built-in fan. The fan automatically comes on when it's docked mode, so you can worry about cooling there. But the only fan ports that we seen with 3 vents at the bottom. I don't know if maybe they have it at the top also, and this is all in an LCD screen. Now we think there might be an OLED coming later in the future, which is going to be a premium one, but it's retailed at $449. OLED is far superior, more advantages, so we might as well just say $500. And then of course they're going to make the light version, and let's be totally honest,
nobody ain't gonna buy that.
Yeah, because nobody wanted the light version of the Switch, unless somebody just wanted, I don't want to call it knockoff Switch experience, but if you're going to get a Switch Lite, you might as well just put the coin in and get a Switch.
Because the funny thing, when you said a Switch Lite, I'll tell everybody this. When I used to work at BrandSmart, all that stuff, there were more Switch Lites, obviously, than the OLED and the original. You'll only see like 1 or 2 OLEDs in regular Switch, but the lights, you see them like all, because nobody wants to buy that. Yeah. Nobody wants to. They want to put it on the big screen.
Yep. So, as far as game share, they kind of clarified it in the video, but 1 person can host up to 3 other people, so 4 people in total, including the host. I'm wondering if it's going to be a time frame on that.
It's going to be a time frame because
PlayStation 4 with their game share had I believe it was a 60-minute time frame.
60 minutes? Oh,
on PlayStation.
Oh, I thought you meant like to start it up. I'm like
no, to play, and then after that it would cut it off, and then you would have to start it again. You would have to start the game share over again in order to do it. Now, remember, the main game is on the host's account, so it's not like it stops it. But in order to continue, you have to do it again.
Yeah. Like I was about to say, because I thought you meant like 6. It's gonna take. I was like 60. I said that's too long, but
nah. So
they basically did what the Nintendo DS used to do, which is kind of made everybody happy. Because let's say if I have Mario Kart and I'm the host, and let's say you and like 7 of us say, oh, we want to play Mario Kart as well. All I gotta do is just turn on the DS, put Mario Kart, link to everybody else in it. But you can't pick it. You can't pick the characters, but you can play every single stage. You just gotta pick that pole character. That's gonna be your default character. You can get the other cards. That's it. You'll still get to play the game. So it's like.
Yeah. So the next thing they actually announced was 3 different forms of games for the Switch 2. So the first one's going to be the native Switch games, which we already know. At the cheapest, Donkey Kong, that's a first party game, $70. That's most likely the digital price.
Yep.
But then they said Switch 1 games that are compatible with Switch 2, and they already said not a lot of games are going to be compatible. One thing to note though is that they do have an insert slot for Switch 2 and Switch 1 games. So they purposely wanted to make sure, like, hey, this is going to be an all-inclusive thing, but we pretty much want y'all to waste y'all money and get the Switch 2 games. And then, of course, the big one, Switch 1 games being remastered for Switch 2. Here's where it's up in the air still. Is it, if you already have game share files, because everything should be connected to your account, are you just going to have to put a like PS4 to PS5, a $10 upgrade charge, which kind of would make no sense, because what was the Switch 1 specs? Was it already 1080 60 or 1080 30?
Yeah, it was around that range.
So if at the same point you have 1080 or 1440 at 60, there really is no difference.
Yeah,
granted, 60 frames is a big difference, but when you're talking about it's still 1080, 1080 is 1080. So is it going to make it to where whatever game from the Switch 1 can actually be played on the Switch 2 is actually just going to be like a $10 upgrade charge? But
it's gonna be the same way. Like you said, how PlayStation gonna do a $10 upcharge. It's gonna be like a $5 to $10 upcharge. Cause
you sure 5 or 10? Because right now Nintendo seems greedy.
No, cause I think it showed it on the Direct. They say if you want to play this on, if you want to get the more enhanced version, they say it's gonna be $5 to $10. Depending on.
Sure, they set a price.
They said it on the Direct.
We gonna have to go back to that.
Yeah, they said it on the Direct.
Okay, so continuing on though. So I believe it was 1 or 2 videos ago we actually spoke on the specs of what we think the Nintendo Switch 2 could have been. Power Trick already has said that this is not stronger than a PS5.
Nope.
But it is a PS4 Pro 2.
Yep.
I like the sound of that because that's what it definitely feels like that's where it might be. But the CPU and GPU are both custom NVIDIAs, so we're gonna have to wait for like a Linus or a Digital Foundry or any other tech guy to rip the thing apart and actually get down to the nitty gritty and see what exactly it is. Video output, again, 4K 60 FPS in TV mode, supports up to 120, but it just depends on the game. And then 1920 by 1080 and 2560 by 1440 is the main one you're going to be doing when it comes down to handheld for the most part. Now, of course, it depends on the type of TV you're using. If you're going to use a monitor, of course, monitors are far superior when it comes down to the hertz, because hertz and FPS are pretty much almost one and the same. Yes, there are differences between them, but if you have a TV monitor that supports up to 200 hertz, you're well in, it's going to look like butter to you. But, it just depends on what you're playing on. But, yeah, that's pretty much all we have as far as specs that were actually the most relevant in it. But now let's get to the roasting.
I was going to mention that little mouse thing you do, that the mouse thing.
So when we was looking at some stuff with the mouse, it looks like they just took technology from the Wii.
Yep.
So
it's innovative.
I can't call it innovative. I would just say that they reused old technology, because mouses are how old? I don't have a infrared mouse. Mine's an optical laser mouse. So it's just old. It's just technology that they found a way to put into. It's a Wii controller mixed with a mouse mixed with Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. But if people want to call it innovative tech, sure. I think the Wii was more innovative with the nunchuck and remote.
But the freak, you already know how many TVs have to be replaced after those.
Yeah, which you actually brought up a good point before, which is I didn't see no lanyards, no tassels for people's hands. Larger Joy-Cons are able to do all this stuff. Now, one of the videos that we watched, we noticed that when the person was using it like a mouse, because there was like a wheelchair basketball game or whatever else that they were playing. That looked like a rubberized board or like a very like smooth surface. Like you don't want to put it on a table because you don't want to rough it up. Maybe have like I have a mouse right here, like it's a 32-inch long pad. You might want to just buy yourself a mouse, maybe one a little bit wider. Mine is about 15 inches wide, and just you're gonna need table space if you're playing a game like that, pretty much.
Should we get on with the roasting?
Oh yeah.
The good, the bad, and we did the good and the bad, right? Or
We did the good and sensible. It's just bad and ugly now.
bad and ugly now. All right.
Nintendo is greedy as all hell. I'm gonna try not to curse, but as all hell. I want to talk about one of the things that annoys me the most. All you people that keep trying to bring up these old articles from back in the day, stop with the stupidity. Yes, back in the day, game consoles and everything else were expensive. But you want to know the other thing that game consoles brought? It brought some form of vanity. Not everybody could afford consoles back in the day. If you was one of those rare or fortunate few, people would come by you. You were the it person to go to. That doesn't exist no more.
Nope.
Especially with the way technology is. Who cares about a console if a person has a custom PC? Yes, granted, it's user settings, but all your specs are higher depending on how much you've invested into it. So, all you're doing is trying to justify copium. People are already upset at the price of the Switch 2. Some people are trying to say it's justified. It's not justified. The specs of the Switch 2 is 10 to 12 years too late. But Nintendo is smart from a business standpoint. While Microsoft and Sony were literally developing the technology to make these more innovative consoles or these higher end consoles, when new tech was coming out, because HDR10 support came out that Sony created when the PS4 came out, or I should say the PS4 Pro. Microsoft was pretty much following suit with it. Nintendo wasn't worried about that. What's Blu-ray? We got cartridges. What's all this 1084K crap? So but the thing about it is the technology is cheaper now. So to make the Switch 2, let's be totally honest, it's cheap. What becomes more expensive is custom GPU and CPU, because now you have to try to factor in all these specs. And I guarantee you, I want to say that based off what we've seen on the specs when they did the sharing, the specs ain't all that high. Because if I was to put Discord on right now, and I was to stream at 1080 60, because I can put it up to 1440, but my TV only supports 1080 60 at the moment because my 4K is meant for the PS5. I will still be able to see my friends' games like butter if I was to stream their games. And it doesn't affect mine because I have the hardware for it.
Yeah.
So the fact that we seen lag and stutter on the Switch 2 is not going to be all what it's crapped up to be. It's something ambitious, it's something innovative, and it's something that they're trying to make this like together type of thing. But again, you only buy the Switch 2 if you're going for first party games. That's the only thing I see it for. It's greedy. We are no longer living in a time where a console is meant to be like, oh, this exclusive thing. And it's bad enough Nintendo has the nickname of being the Apple of consoles. That isn't a nice nickname to have. Apple is unnecessarily expensive. And every idiot that wants to justify an iPhone, meaning you have to pay for every individual thing, congratulations. You spend money that you don't necessarily need to.
And the next part of speaking of the iPhones, everybody's like, oh, I'm sick and tired of all these people saying this. Oh, if you don't have an iPhone, you're lame. I'm just like, last time I checked, Android, the Samsung Galaxy phones are far more advanced then all you. Then
At
all
the end
these
of the
other
day,
phones, I'm
Samsung
just
makes
like-
both their phones. It's just whatever's the hardware.
And I'll say this: when you saying about how I forgot what you had said last time. What you had said last time?
I said a lot.
Yeah, you said a lot. I was like, the last thing you said before.
Which
I forgot. Damn it! I think I lost it now. I forgot what you had said, but. Now I'm gonna just skip on it. We'll just skip on it. You know, screw it. It'll come back to me.
No,
It'll come back to me.
No, I said a lot, but ultimately, when it comes back down to it, it's just Nintendo is being greedy. That's literally
There
all it
you
is.
go. I was like, cause I was gonna say this. I'm like, Nintendo's being. I'm like, first off, I'm like, Nintendo, you broke the record of being the highest selling console in the United States because it's dirt cheap. You hold the record of the second and third highest hardware worldwide with the Switch and the DS, which made everybody wanted to get. And it was dirt cheap at the time. Still is. But why are you doing this for? You have Nintendo Land coming on the way in Orlando because we're in Florida. Later on next month, that's coming. It's already a billion dollar idea because you have one in California, one in Japan, and one on all this other stuff.
Apparently, it's working.
And it's working. The movie, despite all those DEI haters, made $1 billion, the highest grossing video game movie of all time. And you confirmed the second one. And you confirmed The Legend of Zelda movie. Why you guys need more money for? You guys are gonna make $1 billion from these theme parks alone, basically like in 2 months.
Let's be totally honest. Mario alone is gonna fart out $1 billion. So everything else after that is just.
They're gonna make $1 billion. Once this theme park opens, you're gonna make $1 billion in. I said 2 months. I said that's being too unrealistic. You're gonna make it in 1 month.
Yeah.
Because
the amount of people worldwide that I want to go. Because think about it. Florida, in so many ways, or I'll say Central Florida, is literally theme park central.
Yup.
So, you know, but back to roasting. So again, I give praise to the business model of Nintendo. That's the only thing I'll give praise to. But it's so stupid that you know that you waited for technology to pretty much almost be perfected so that it cost less, but you put out something so late where the specs that the Switch 2 has is almost irrelevant. Because, oh my god, because actually every reaction that I've seen, it was just like, oh my god, Mario's gonna look so great on this. Oh my god, I can't wait for the next Metroid. All I kept hearing was first party, first party, first party. Third, and then because of it being $450, but then the nerve of you, $80 for digital. It's bad enough that I do not like digital licenses even on my PC because all it takes is the right a-hole within Nintendo to be greedy enough and be like, oh well, this is just a license to rent it for a certain amount of time, and they could just cut that whenever and you just no longer have the game. Is it criminal? I'm sure, but businesses always find a way to do loopholes. So I always like my physical copies of games. Always. But to increase the price by $10 for the game is insane. No. Okay, based off of Switch 2.
Yeah, $20,
it's
$30.
$80 and $90.
Yeah, $20, $30.
The only thing that was cheap, which I imagine they're going to do is going to be $70, $80, is the Donkey Kong, the new one that they announced, was going to be $70. That's still a first-party game that's in-house. That don't take much resource. But if you have third-party or indie developers, which you were saying earlier, Power Trick, that I thought at first it was PlayStation back in the day, or even Microsoft, but Nintendo seems to give way more leniency and amnesty towards indie devs for the games. They could be making a crap ton of money.
From the end, because I said if Nintendo focus on the indies, that's where the money will be.
But this is where the issue with those ads also come into play, because back then developers charged whatever they wanted to based off of price. If a game was ported from arcade, it was a different price. If a game was first party, it was a different price. If it came from anything else. So, and you know what? I'm gonna shout out two content creators because they're great. I have enjoyed them for the longest time. Angry Joe, who has like a 14-15 minute review, also annoyed to hell on it, and Maximilian Dude. I'm part of South Florida's FGC, kind of low key now, but still part of it. Love the FGC, but even he was talking about stuff that I actually had forgot. PlayStation, when they first was in their infancy creating the PlayStation, and it was a lofty ideal. They are the reason why games got streamlined to like $50-$60.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for them, the games probably would be $80, $90, $100 already. But the thing about it is there have to be some type of normalization of it. But the reality is, because I'm not even worried about what ifs, while everybody is harping on having a Switch 2, those people must just have junk money. Like, they just have money to throw away. If you want to play it for first party games, I completely understand. If you're a tech head or a tech geek, I totally understand. But if you're talking about, I want a new console so I can play games, the Switch 2 is not it. And here's the worst thing. We don't know if the Switch 2's release date is going to get pushed back because tariffs just got introduced. So it's a possibility the Switch 2 is going to be more expensive.
A lot of people said that's just a cop-out, really.
Oh yeah, of course it's a cop-out. Because here's the thing. The technology for the Switch 2 has been around for God knows how long. So you said the Switch when it first came out was technically $250, $300?
It was $250, yeah.
$250. And that's based off of what, 7-8 years ago? But it was probably in R&D probably about 3 to 4 years ago before that. So we can easily say based off of technology, it's probably inflated in price by $200, meaning it's probably like about $200 in profit. So, but by all means, I'm not going to tell you that a Switch 2 should be like $300 or $250, $150. But if I go based off of specs of a PC and the consoles that are already out, it might as well be. And let's be totally honest, again, what other handhelds that came out? Steam Decks, the ROG Ally, the Lenovo Red Magic. Like, they got so many other handhelds that use Steam Deck to play better games with higher end specs. OLED screens. So, if the Switch 2 gets any more expensive, they're pretty much writing themselves out the market anyway. And the only people that are going to be sitting here trying to defend it are literally going to be Nintendo fanatics. I'm not even going to call you fans. I'm going to call you fanatics because the specs don't justify it.
That was on the 3D. One of the best RPGs on the 3D. I went crazy when it says it's gonna be remastered. They didn't react.
But that's all Nintendo is. Look,
I'm like,
okay, I want you to think about it, right? I want you to think about it. So we were born in the 80s.
I'm 90s.
Oh, you're 90s. Okay. So I was born in the 80s. Since my youth, the only characters that have not aged at all has been Mickey and Mario in company.
That is true.
So Nintendo's business model, we have timeless characters. And they brought some more along the way because I don't know if they acquired Sega or they just helped Sega out to keep Sonic around and everything else. And then you have Rayman, if I'm correct, they got them, so that's always going to be a timeless one. But Nintendo has characters when we're dead and gone, and our grandkids and nieces and nephews and cousins are dead and gone. Those characters, just like Mickey, and company are not going to be anywhere. They are timeless characters. Nintendo does not care about the older generation. I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40. Once you get out of your mid-teens, you are too old for Nintendo as far as they're concerned. Go have some babies, go work a 9 to 5, and buy our games for your kids. That's literally what it is. So every person that's my age and older, or even slightly younger, that are complaining about certain things, as far as Nintendo is concerned, shut up and pay me. You already know you're going to like that next Mario game. Give me your money. That's literally all it is. Thankfully, I aged out of Nintendo way early on. In fact, if you want to know something funny, when the Switch first came out, Power Trick was like, oh, hey, what game will bring you back to Nintendo? I said, Tatsunoko versus Capcom. If you know, you know. He was just like, damn. And I told him, I don't think that game's coming back. Nope. Here's the Switch 2. He asked me again, what game will bring you back? I said the same game. It ain't coming back. And here's the thing. That's not even a first party game.
No, it's not.
I am not a Nintendo fan. While Zelda was a cool concept and I watched the cartoon and everything back in the day, I don't care about the games. When everybody was on Zelda, I was on God of War, who aged up. I was on Devil May Cry, Dante and Virgil aged up. I was on all these other games. Every game I have, it either has became disbanded, discontinued, or aged up. There's no more Darksiders. That's by THQ Nordic, so it's a possibility that might come back. Bloody Roar is gone. R.I.P. to that. I wish that would come back. There's only been one Naraka. What is it called? I think it's called. No, it's not Naraka. It's the female version of Heavenly Sword. That's female Kratos. That ain't coming back no time soon. Like all the characters that I grew up with from the better console, Sony. I'll even say Microsoft at some point. All the characters aged up. Sony is the only system so far that I've seen where characters aged up. Even Microsoft. You think Master Chief is gonna die? Ha! Immortal. She's not gonna age up. As far as I'm concerned, that's female RoboCop. Now you could say the people from Gears of War will age up. That's a possibility. But the fact of the matter is I will always respect Nintendo's business practices, but damn, they greedy. Like that's all I can say about this system is that it's greedy. With all the specs that we know of or don't know of, it's still greed. Let's talk about the storage for a second. 256 gigabytes, more so 220 gigabytes. We looked it up. Elden Ring on Steam tells you to have 60 gigabytes of storage. Automatically, if you get 4 games at 60, that's at 240. That's already going past what I'm even thinking that the internal UI is going to allow you to do. So, we looked it up in detail though. They say that the game, a base file is anywhere from 45 to 50. And then with DLC, the DLC install is just 16 gigs. So you're saying 51 to 66 gigabytes anyway.
Yep.
And that's on PC. So you got to think, for somebody that wants to play handheld Elden Ring on a Nintendo Switch 2 for whatever weird reason, when you could just get a Steam Deck, you are already using a fourth, roughly, of the game size, or like as storage. So, but we did look up the Switch, which only had 32 gigabytes. Right now, again, we're talking about internal storage.
Not the external.
Not the external. And the reason why I'm not even trying to put the caveat of the external is they said that they support up to 2 terabytes.
Yep.
If anybody was able to put 4 terabytes, 8, 16, whatever else, then by all means, let me know if it's even compatible, because that actually is a big bonus perk when it comes down to file storage for the Switch 2. But we already know if you're a gamer, you have a bunch of games, and if you're trying to play your old games on a new system plus add more,
you're gonna have to add that.
256 isn't even enough. And it just depends on the type of game player you are. Like, you know what? I didn't even figure out, how big is Animal Crossing?
It ain't as big. I know for a fact it ain't as big as Tears of the Kingdom, because Tears of the Kingdom is the
18.2.
highest first party game, but the highest third party is 23 gigs. So it's like,
yeah. So we gotta figure Animal Crossing isn't a high spec game,
No.
but it is smooth 3D polygons. It's a cozy game. So if you're a person that likes to play a bunch of cozy games, you know, then you might have space. But if you're anybody that likes playing Elden Ring and Metroid and all these other games, you run out of internal space like there's no tomorrow. But this is where it now goes down to
7.1.
okay. But and again, the reason why I'm using internal storage is because whether it's the PS4 Pro or PS4 or it's the PS5 or whatever latest version of Xbox, you have enough storage to put a plethora of games, whether first, third, indie, whatever. You don't have a lot of space on the Switch 2. So now, on top of $449, and if you choose to do the streaming stuff, which is going to kill performance and battery, $50, plus, depending on how lucky you are or not on the game, a $80 or $90 game experience. Now you gotta buy external storage.
Yep.
Like, the money just keeps piling up on it. You know, and what, didn't they say that to get extra Joy-Cons is $90, but they said the the new Pro Controller was $80?
Yeah, it was 80. But I think they should, because like on the original Switch, it used to come with one. I think the OLED, it comes with the controller, which most likely that's gonna be it.
But again,
But obviously you gotta get an extra.
Again, yeah. So if the LCD is gonna cost you $449, an OLED, especially if it's a Pro controller, which is $80. Now their controller apparently, of course, is gonna have more tech than the Pro controller because they have the whole mouse feature and everything to it, magnets and all.
And the little buttons in the back of the Pro controller, which is like,
so you're literally gonna think like, oh, maybe $529? Or no, I'm being too nice. It's gonna cost $549.
For the OLED version? Oh yeah,
It's gonna cost $549.
I can see $100 more because the original Switch was $250, and the OLED was $300. But if you're gonna get a bundle, it's gonna be $350. So it's like, I can see it being $500, $350.
And
$550.
again, you're breaking into you are in PS4 Pro, PS5 Pro territory for a downgraded or down-powered system. There's no justification. Go Master Race or get a PS5. Or if you want handheld, Steam Deck, ROG Ally, Lenovo Red Magic. I don't see a justification for it. And look, a person can say whatever they want. I do not care if you are a Nintendo fan. You gotta use some common sense. The Switch 2, before it even comes out, is already outdated. The only reason why, from a spec standpoint, the only reason why you buy it is because you want to see if the games are actually worth it. And that's the other thing. I want every person that has been sulking online to actually give me justification if somebody buys an $80 game and it's straight doo-doo water. Like, seriously, like, because some of these games, it's kind of like, what in the ever-loving is this? I want somebody to buy a physical copy of a game and tell me that this game is a 9 out of 10 and everybody else is giving it like a 2 or a return immediately. Recall that damn thing.
Like how IGN used to do with some of their movies and stuff. Because they gave it a 7 and then everybody was, this is bull crap.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. Am I talking a lot of hot stuff right now? Yes. But am I justified in it? Yes. I was a Sony shill, still am to a certain point, but I have went hardcore master race. My consoles pretty much almost collect dust if it wasn't for the fact that I got games every once in a while. I get that nostalgia feel and I want to play it.
And mind you, GN Invasion here, like I said, he's used to be a Sony shield. He roasted the hell out of the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
Because he and a bunch of other people who, there was a PS5 Pro, like he was getting hyped up, seeing what's going to be, until he just see the performance, he was just like, what the hell is the difference? And then they say, $700. Everybody's like, hell no. Everybody's like, we sticking with the 5.
Yep, so when I went to Master Race, I already gave up on Sony when it came down to the PlayStation Plus. And then when the Pro came out, I said, screw it, I'll upgrade my computer. I got a new GPU and CPU. I'm future-proof for at least another 10 years. And before then, I'm probably going to end up upgrading again. The next thing I plan on upgrading is actually my gaming storage. I have NVMe internal storage. I'm going to be upgrading to NVMe gaming storage so that I can run stuff even more buttery smooth. Because right now I did lowball it. So I don't see, I will always be straightforward with you. I am a transparent person. Switch 2, ambitious. Only worth buying if you want to play Nintendo exclusives or first party, however you want to call it. If there is any other game coming out, I don't care if Soul Calibur 2 is being HD remade. Go buy it on PS4. Go buy it on the Steam. Find go on Nexus Mod and find a HD remake optimizer to download. It's going to be a better experience overall. I do not, any game that comes out on a more inferior system, and yes, from a spec standpoint, it is inferior. There's no point for it. Nintendo, you can do what you want. You can flag this. I'll talk crap about you in every episode. But I don't care.
But mind you, we roasted PlayStation's freaking state of play last year.
PS4 Pro is not worth it. I will tell everybody, get the base PS5 and just get more storage. Oh, and I have the hard disk version, by the way.
Yeah, same.
So that's the only one you want. Again, I do not believe in digital games.
Me neither.
So just to go off topic a little bit, I've been hearing about there's a possibility of 3 different wars going on. If in any way, shape, and form, we already know communication is the biggest thing. We seen how people acted during COVID when they couldn't go outside. Just imagine people that can't go outside and don't got no internet. So, you know, again, like,
if they were deemed that, imagine those people deemed in the 80s or 90s, they will not survive at all. We will thrive.
Oh yeah. So the first thing is, you see all this here? The reason why I collect my stuff, I have entertainment for a lifetime. I will not have to bother with anything.
And the fact that when you said I will never support digital, people's like, what is the point of buying physical? I say, so we could keep it for ourselves. And the fact that even stores like Best Buy, Walmart, they're getting rid of all those digital. They're making the physical copies of the anime movies that I personally like. Promare, I don't know if you saw that movie.
I have it.
Great movie. I have the steel cover, steel book.
Oh, I ain't got that. Oh, but I do have the game. I mean the movie.
Oh, but you didn't get that thing was dirt cheap. It was like $40. I had it signed by Johnny.
$40 is not dirt cheap.
Compared to a video game right now.
Touche. But why are you comparing to a video game? So okay. So let's get some lore on that, right? Shout outs to one of my favorite places I used to go to back in the day when I wasn't aware of something called finances and a budget. Tate's. Back when we was back in college, Tate's was the one place I can go to and I knew they had anime that I wanted. DVD, by the way, not even Blu-ray. DVD, $30. Might have 3 to 5 episodes. You lucky if the volume you had 4 to 5 episodes. $30. When the Blu-ray version came out, instantly $5 more. But it was on one disc. But it was the same amount of episodes. Unless you waited and got the complete collection, and then that might be anywhere from like $45, $50.
Yep.
Nowadays, you know, depending on how great it is, like a greatest hits or something like that, you might be able to find it for like $10 to $15 cheaper. But from a movie standpoint, not even series, because it scared me. It was, we used to have this Blu-ray. Blu-ray was always $5, like it would be, DVD was 10 to 15, Blu-ray would be like 20 to 25.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you got lucky, they gave you the DVD version in it. Now you got 4K Blu-ray, and I'm just like, wait, what is this? And it costs like 40, 50 bucks. And it's just like, what's the difference? It's in 4K. But back then, 4K TVs was, or 4K Blu-ray players, whatever you needed so much more tech that caused you to be bankrupt before you can even watch 4K. It wasn't even worth it, so you just kept with the Blu-ray. But they gave you, because I had to buy one, unfortunately, the 4K movie, which was a Blu-ray disc. Another Blu-ray disc for 1080. The DVD and a digital code to get it digitally.
Oh, shoot.
For $45. I was just like, wait, what? Why do I need all of this? Just give me the Blu-ray version. And half of the time when I got the DVD, I gave it to friends anyway.
But yeah, like I said, like, because we want to get our hands on and making sure that it is ours. I got the Promare Steelbook signed, by the way, by...
Which made it even more valuable, actually.
Signed by Johnny on Bosch and Steve Blum, and I almost had it signed by the creator, the director of Promare, but he had to leave on a flight, which I'm like, I was still bummed about that.
Yep.
But on to the next topic. Speaking of movies,
CinemaCon
happened. Geo Invasion don't know about it, but
guys, I know a lot about different conventions. I just can't go half the time. I knew nothing on CinemaCon.
CinemaCon, how I knew about it, it was like a while back when they showed Infinity War trailer, and when I put a Facebook that I said it's about to get real, people like want to know what happened. I was like, I just saw Infinity War trailer, and then when CinemaCon happened, I don't know where it's at, but I seen it online and stuff. They showed a Fantastic Four new trailer that hasn't even been released on YouTube yet. And from what I saw, because when people try to leak it and try to post it, it got taken down right away. But from watching it, they made Sue Storm pregnant. And I'm just like, huh?
And I was telling them, if they did that in this movie, they are fast tracking this movie a lot, because of course we already know their kid is Franklin Richards, the strongest being in Marvel, literally.
So I was like, she's pregnant, and then they have it like a little. It almost feels like an 80s setting, and I'm just like, why is it in the 80s when?
Oh wait, tell them what you actually told me before. So the thing about like Anthony Mackie's Captain America,
yeah,
which is technically one of the ending DEI or woke movies that was coming about, is now the first in the new, or whatever you was talking about. First in the new lineup of movies.
Yeah, it's gonna be in a new lineup along with Fantastic Four, along with what was another? I think it was Thunderbolts or something like that.
Hold on, because
and if this movie's taking place in the 80s, that would mean it's gonna take place after Captain America. So, because I'm like, how's it gonna fit? Like, how's it gonna fit in the freaking story? And also happened on CinemaCon. It showed they announced it. Tron. They announced it. Avatar. They
Holy
announced
shit.
it. Basically,
Okay. I'll just blurt out some of these because this is actually a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So as far as movies or projects, Project Hail Mary, Final Destination Bloodlines, The Running Man, A Big Bold Beautiful Journey, The Long Walk, Predator Badlands or Predator 6, The Bride, Weapons, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, Nobody 2, Avatar Fire and Ash, Mercy, Ballerina, Him, Black Phone 2, whatever that means. And then it says, That's Not All. Those may have been our favorites, but we also have some awesome footage from Masters of the Universe,
Yep.
Tron's Ares, Thunderbolts, The Fantastic Four, First Steps, Superman, Wicked for Good, Justice,
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World, another Jurassic
Yep,
Park?
there's another Jurassic Park movie.
All right, anyway, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. That's going to be good. Freakier Friday, and How to Train Your Dragon, just to name a few.
CinemaCon. Can you tell us where does it take place? Where does CinemaCon take place? It's probably in LA.
I would imagine.
Coliseum seat Vegas. Okay, it makes sense. Vegas. Since you already know it's gonna be dirt expensive.
So,
But yeah, overall, I'm like, we know Fantastic Four is coming, and we know the Thunderbolts are coming, which I'm kind of interested in. But yeah, CinemaCon, you got to keep an eye out, because if, let's say next year they're gonna show up a new trailer, they might go show the Doctor Doom trailer there, and if somebody try to leak it, it's gonna get taken down. 100%. So we just gonna wait it out and see how it is. But I'm gonna just say, should we end this right here?
yeah, so just to, I guess, do a summary, we don't have to worry about the last one because of the CinemaCon thing, but I'll say it like this, because honestly, Nintendo keeps giving me fuel to roast them. My initial impressions of the Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 was a 6 out of 10. My realistic viewpoint on it, though, after everything, 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10.
And honestly, it's probably because I'm not a Nintendo fan or a Nintendo enjoyer or purist anymore. I stepped away from them a long time ago because I found better. And that's what happens when you step out of the bubble sometimes. You might actually find things that are better or more enjoyable. And I'm not even worried about biases or whatever else. I still enjoy Mario stuff. I play Smash with them at times. I've watched Let's Plays and GDQs and everything else on old games. And there's not one point where I ever felt or regretted not playing these games. So we actually would need to get Hovnail's opinion because I think he's the bigger Nintendo fan.
Do you mean hater or something like that? Like
I thought he was a fan. Oh, okay.
Totally opposite. But me, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Like I would say 3 out
For the direct.
Direct, because the Direct was solid. It plummeted when it showed the price of the games and the fact that the video quality and the audio lagging when my homeboy said hired by DEI people, which was hilarious. It like it was so bad. The audio was 2 to 3 seconds behind from the video.
That's better than Twitch, where you could be 15.
That's true. And at one point it froze.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
And when it froze, I'm just like, oh snap. I was like, one dude was like, DEI took over. I was like, DEI took over.
So, what is your realistic score though?
After everything that happened, if it wasn't for the fact that with the pricing, I give it a 3 out of 5. I would give it like 2.5.
3 out of 5 and then to a 2.5 out of 10?
No, 2.5 out of 5. Like a 2 out of 5 or something like that. That's
Oh,
what
you nice.
Because the reason why, because like there were some of the games that like I said, I screamed about the direct. Like I said, the direct was solid. It's just what happened. $80, $90 a game plummeted. The video and audio lag plummeted. That's bad.
Look, I'm gonna say it again, and I'm saying it just to make sure I put. Right now, I'm cutting you open, and I'm stabbing the wound with my finger and my thumb. It is not worth it based off of specs because there's already better out there. It's only for if you want first party games. But anyways, guys, if you want to like, comment, subscribe, put your hate comments, put your constructive criticism, let us know what you actually think on it as well. Because to be totally honest, while I am one of those people that is on the outside, so if Nintendo is trying to get newer people, unfortunately I wouldn't be it. But just because, again, there's already better out there, so Nintendo isn't bringing anything out that I haven't already seen. But for people that are Nintendo fans, how do y'all feel about it? Is there a pure bias loyalty towards it? Are you going to get it? Are you not going to get it? What's your reasons? I would definitely like to know.